On June 23rd, we'll be observing Peacebuilding Day. That's because on June 23rd, 2006, here at the United Nations, the first meeting of the Peacebuilding Commission was held here in our chambers. The Peacebuilding Commission is not as well known an instrument here at the United Nations as the Security Council, but it really has a vital role. It's a really important instrument that's part of our international peace and security set of tools. I'm really pleased to be chatting this afternoon with Ambassador Sérgio França Danese, who is the Brazilian ambassador to the United Nations, the permanent representative of Brazil to the UN, but he also happens to be the chair of the Peacebuilding Commission, or the PBC, at this moment, and he will be for all of this year of 2024. So we thought it was a very important moment that we could use to talk about the PBC, why it's important, what it does, and what lies ahead. Ambassador, may I ask you, you've now been several months in the position of chair of the PBC here at the United Nations. The PBC is supposed to play an important role vis-a-vis member states who are interested in the support of the Commission in terms of political accompaniment, bringing visibility to their peacebuilding challenges, also supporting them on their peacebuilding priorities. What have you seen so far? Where are the strong points of the PBC?
Well, the PBC is probably the most innovative instrument that we have at the United Nations. It's quite recent, and it's a very good experience in terms of promoting peace building and preventing conflicts. I think that one of the key aspects of the Peacebuilding Commission is that it rallies countries that are really interested and involved in peace building, and it has a mandate that is very interesting, because countries that seek help from the Peace Building Commission do that on a voluntary basis, knowing that what they will be doing with the Commission is nationally owned, that they will have control of what they are doing in terms of their strategies, in terms of their actions, in terms of the partnerships that they will try to develop being at the Commission. So I think that it is a very good new instrument that we have. Countries there are committed to the tasks of the Peacebuilding Commission. Countries that look for the help of the Peacebuilding Commission are really involved in what they are doing. They are committed, and so I think that this is the way we can generate action. We are very much interested in consolidating this characteristic of the Commission of being a body that is action-oriented. We're not there to discuss theoretically questions related to peace building or to conflict prevention. We are there to act. It's a political body. It does not have specific instruments, but it can help gather support for countries that are developing their peace building strategies. We can be useful in trying to bridge those countries' needs with, for instance, international financial institutions, other countries that are willing to cooperate, other organizations that are willing to cooperate with those countries that have serious strategies to deal with post-conflict situations, or who are willing to prevent conflict.
Well, you were talking, Ambassador, about the PBC needing to be action-oriented. I think most of the Commission membership would very much agree with you. And I think that when people think about the UN, sometimes they think about resolutions and long speeches and so forth. And they don't often think about what kind of impact the UN can have on the ground through instruments like the PBC. Could you give us a few examples that you've already seen or been involved in terms of how the PBC can make a positive difference to countries that are interested in engaging with it?
Of course. I think that first, the PBC is a place where countries can share their good practices, their good experiences, their challenges, and even their failures in dealing with peace building or conflict prevention. I think that this sharing of experiences is already something that is action-oriented. I mean, countries will see what what other countries with similar challenges are doing, and maybe emulate what they're doing or try to build on those experiences. And this is something that is very positive. But also I think that the PBC has the political weight to mobilize cooperation action to help those countries. As I said, through contacting international financial institutions, both international or regional financial institutions, by mobilizing cooperation, by helping countries to draft and build their strategies based on what other countries have been doing or on their specific needs. I think that this is what action-oriented means. I mean, that we are working with the countries with a view to make them move or help them move towards objectives that they are setting for themselves. I think that this is the idea, and then that's why we are giving so much importance to that idea of sharing experiences within the PBC, as we did today in a meeting with on the Gambia. We did that several times this year with other countries that have strategies that are being implemented successfully, that have good examples to share, that are success stories in a certain way. And we are also dealing with countries that are looking for our help. For instance, we have just been to São Tomé and Príncipe. It's a small country in Africa that looked for the PBC to help them draft a strategy on institutional reforms and the security sector reform.
And access to justice.
Yeah, access to justice.
Yeah, very important.
They voluntarily searched our help. They asked the UN and ECAS, the regional organization, to assess their situation in that area, and then they came to the Commission to present their case and to ask for help. And we started doing just that by channeling one of their demands to the Peacebuilding Fund. The Peacebuilding Fund was able to gather some resources that were still available for the 2024 their 2024 program. And so we started. It's a small step, but it's a step in the right direction that will help that country build on that program. Maybe later on, and that's what happens with programs that are funded by the PBF. A stronger international financial institution can come and then continue those programs or use those programs as pilots for other programs that they can finance, and I think that this builds a cycle of virtue. I mean, that you put those countries on track to tackle their challenges in those areas, in the area of peace building or conflict prevention. I think that this is what action-oriented means. We will keep doing this during this year, during our chair, and we are sure that this is something that has been done in the past. This will continue to be done in the future. I mean, put the PBC on this track of promoting action, promoting the sharing of good experiences, encouraging countries to see the example of other countries and come to the Commission. That's our aim. One of our main aims is to have more countries coming to the Commission, seeing the experience of other countries that are already there, and build this huge stream of peace building and conflict prevention in all regions that are in need of that.
No, absolutely. You mentioned the Secretary General's Peacebuilding Fund, and that's another tool, of course, among what we call the UN peacebuilding architecture, right? So we have the Peacebuilding Commission, which is an intergovernmental body. We have the Secretary General's Peacebuilding Fund, which provides catalytic resources to member states at their request to help them build and sustain peace. And then we have the office that I head, the Peacebuilding Support Office, that also provides other types of assistance. But I think in both of our views, the actual peacebuilding architecture of the UN is much broader. It's really the whole system. Mm-hmm. And we all try, through the role of the fund, but also very much the role of the PBC, to bring the various tools of the UN together across the development area, humanitarian area, peace area, and certainly human rights as well. Now, one thing I think that is really important about the PBC is its unique convening power, and you were alluding to that. The fact that you can bring in to talk about a country's peace-building priorities at their request. You can bring in the international financial institutions, the private sector, civil society, and so forth. This is something that is very, very powerful, and we've seen it work well in a number of cases, really bringing all of those actors together for a comprehensive response to peace-building challenges in a particular country. Something that people may not know is that the PBC also has a very important advisory role to bodies like the Security Council. So it really is quite a strategic instrument, I think. Now, we have something coming up this year and then next year that's quite important. On the one hand, we have the Summit of the Future in the fall, which is going to be a head of state and government level meeting here at the UN, very important, trying to use it to see how we can make the UN, but I would say more broadly, human society fit for purpose, given all of the challenges we have, not just in the peace and security field, but more broadly. And they are looking at peace and security issues, of course. And one of the big ideas that I believe will be committed to by our heads of state and government is the idea of a much stronger PBC. And next year we have the review of this architecture that I was just describing here to see how we can further strengthen these tools that we have. What would you like to see in terms of a strengthened PBC? We have already a good basis upon which we can work.
I would like to see a stronger PBC. I think that one problem that we have been facing for years now is that the main face through which world public opinion sees the United Nations is the Security Council. Mm. The Security Council, with all its paralysis, all its confrontation, all its ineffectiveness in dealing with many of its challenges, this is the face that most people see as the UN face. I would very much like to see that the PBC becomes that face. I mean, peace building and conflict prevention, they have to deal with all aspects, all three pillars of the UN mandate. I mean, peace and security, sustainable development, human rights, and if we had a stronger PBC with a stronger PBF, or Peace Building Fund, with countries more committed to the PBC, we would see that change, that face, that UN face change a lot, and we'll see UN being perceived as a body that brings solutions to problems that are very important. I mean, the consolidation of peace after conflicts or the prevention of conflicts. This is what the UN is all about. I mean, and you get that not only through measures of related to security. You get that by promoting sustainable development. You get that by promoting human rights. You get that by promoting institutional strengthening of countries. And I think that all this is part of the PBC's mandate, and it's part of what the PBC can do with its mandate. So what we have to do with this next peace building architecture review, which is done every 5 years, is to try to get a product that would respond to these needs. I mean, we need to show good results. The results that the Security Council is not getting in its area of action. But here the PBC and the whole peace building architecture can get those results and can really help countries, as we saw today in the meeting on the Gambia, how a country voluntarily is looked for the PBC's help and was successful in what it intended to do by calling on the PBC for help. So I think that this new phase of the UN is something that we could build by strengthening the peace building architecture, and we should use this review to do just that. But we don't need to wait for that to be completed to act in this direction. We should be acting as this instrument to promote, national strategies to deal with peace building and conflict prevention, and help those countries as much as we can, as we as PBC, PBF, the PBSO, countries individually, regional organizations, everybody can add up in this task.
Yeah, I think you've made some extremely important points, and you mentioned prevention various times. As we know, in a new agenda for peace, the Secretary General again made a very strong case for putting prevention at the center of everything we do. And he also very much talked about that needing to be something that countries themselves take responsibility for. So in UN parlance, we talk about nationally owned and nationally led efforts. So he has been promoting the idea of nationally led and nationally owned prevention strategies. He has been calling for all countries to think about devising their own prevention strategies, developed and less developed countries alike. How do you see that the PBC could help with this concept of national prevention strategies?
I think that this is a key aspect of our work. People tend to say that it's very difficult to measure prevention because if you prevent something to happen, you don't, how can you know that you really prevented it? But I mean, you can easily say that you prevent conflict generally by promoting sustainable development, by developing strong institutions, by promoting democracy, by promoting human rights in all of their aspects. And so I think that anything that we can do in those areas to help countries advance in all those areas will be in favor of prevention. Will be preventing conflict. We know how conflicts start. We know why they start. We don't know exactly where they lead. They lead, but you know that by doing certain things with countries that have some challenges in the areas of development, food security, for instance, is an area where you can act to prevent conflict. Water security is an area where you can, if you act in that area, you for certain are preventing conflicts and so on. So whatever the PBC, the PBF, the whole peace building architecture of the United Nations can help in countries in advancing in all those areas. And I repeat, sustainable development, institution strengthening and development, human rights, and food security, you will be preventing conflict in a way or another. Maybe it would be some immediate conflict that could start. Maybe it's something that would be far in the future, but you will be preventing conflict, and you will be helping countries to become stable and prosperous, and their people being happy, and that's, I think, is our final aim.
Absolutely, Ambassador. And I think that the plea would be for countries, member states of the UN, who might benefit from this relationship with the PBC, of engaging with the Peacebuilding Commission, that they really consider engaging with this very important body, both in a preventive manner to prevent certain issues or problems that they have identified from leading to further tension, violence and conflict, as well as those who want to get additional assistance in terms of consolidating their peace processes, as those who may have been before on the Security Council agenda and are now exiting the Security Council agenda. Is there any final word you want to put out there about the PBC and the promise of prevention?
I think that one good way of celebrating the Peacebuilding Day is to insist that countries that think that they are in need of help for peace-building purposes or for conflict prevention purposes, they should not be afraid to come to the PBC and be part of our initiative. They will find fellow countries that are facing the same challenges, that are trying to develop their strategies, that are getting good results, that are facing failures, but they are keeping working on their challenges. I think that it's a wonderful space where countries will find partners in the membership of the Commission, and where they will be able to face their challenges with this solidarity, which is a word that I think would reflect what the PBC is all about and the peace-building architecture is all about.
I'm glad you mentioned the word solidarity. When the Secretary General, when he opens his new agenda for peace, there are three very important points that he makes, or concepts that he puts forward, that he thinks really need to be worked upon in this very challenging time that we're living in right now in terms of international peace and security. One is the issue of solidarity, really rebuilding and strengthening international solidarity, global solidarity. Another one is universality, that we need to understand that we're all in this together and that everybody has issues they need to work on. Thus the idea that everyone, all countries, big or small, developed or less, could benefit from devising their own prevention strategies. And also the issue of rebuilding trust. And I think that having that global solidarity and strengthening that is the other side of the coin of trying to actually enhance trust among member states. And I have to say, I'm at the Peacebuilding Commission very often, at your meetings, and I really think that the PBC is an underappreciated instrument in terms of how diverse a membership it has, 31 member states from across the spectrum, where really everyone comes to contribute and also to learn from each other. And I think it could be an even more important, if you will, trust forum, as it works to support member states on their prevention and peace-building priorities. So I do very much, Ambassador Danese, wish you much success for the rest of your tenure as PBC chair. I look forward to continue working with you on all of these very important issues, and I know we will have further important outcomes and successes, which we very sorely need right now in a world that's still quite troubled, very troubled, I would say, with a record level of conflicts, record number of fatalities. We have, I believe you would agree with me, we have no alternative to investing more in prevention and peace building.
And it's much less expensive than investing in correcting what the conflicts make to countries. And I think that a final word, countries may be sure that when they come to the PBC, they won't find the kind of confrontation that normally we see at the Security Council. Everybody is there to help. Everybody is there in solidarity. You won't see anybody using the Commission to advance, to strike political points, or to advance, its own strategic interest. So I think that it's a good space. It's the best face that UN can put to the world right now.
I think that's a great way to end and a great moment to leave the conversation. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.